So the title of this video might trigger some of you, but I just kind of wanted to really make my message get out there. And I've made this mistake myself, like to buy fragrances, they're too similar. And I think ambers, that's like a category where I have at least a hard time distinguishing one from the other. And that's why I wrote, one, if you smell one, you smelled them all, which is not really completely true. I mean, I have like, for example, I have this Le Lion is an amber that is kind of a smoky, leathery. I mean, there's birch tar in here, which is used to like cure leather. So it's kind of a leathery, smoky, shippy kind of amber, which is really different. I mean, this, if someone had blindfolded me and put this under my nose, I would have immediately been able to say this is Le Lion, because I don't think any of my other ones smell like this. But I have this little basket of ambers. Oh, there's a few more actually than these, where I have like Tolu from Ormonde. I have this is from Dolce & Gabbana's exclusive line. It's called Velvet Amber Sun. I have from Andy Tower, Le Desert Marocain, L'air de Desert Marocain. I have Amber Leavable by Astrophil and Stella, which I don't think I like so much anymore. I have also one here that I think I'm going to get rid of. It's called Escapade à Byzance. I actually have that on my right hand right now. I'm passing this on, I think. And also, I'm passing on one called Ambre Nomade from the house Elixir. I don't know quite how to pronounce it, but these two fragrances, these two last ones, the Escapade à Byzance they both have, they're kind of, they have something herbal going on. I mean, this one, Ambre Nomade, has like apricot and ginger and some herbs in the top, which I think is maybe that there's something clashing in my nose that, I mean, the dry down's quite nice. It reminds a little of Shalimar. I've never owned a bottle of Shalimar, but I do know what it smells like. This one, I don't know. Something is wrong with this one. It has, okay, rosemary, sage, lavender, apple, apricot, and ginger. I think that's where the problem is, because the bottom is kind of like the kind of normal amber notes like labdanum and cedarwood and oliban and patch, vanilla musk. It's kind of like you find in any amber. I'm swapping that with somebody. These other ones I've just kind of decided to get rid of, but haven't done it yet. And here's one that I really like. It's called Opus 1144, and the perfumer is Filippo Sorcinelli. I think it's his brand Unum. I think I might have talked about this on my channel before. This reminds me a little bit of Parfumum Roma fragrances. It's funny, I don't have the two ambers from Parfumum Roma, and I love Parfumum Roma, but those, I just don't think they're that unique. Like, maybe ambers have this problem. Another bottle I have, an amber that I just got this summer, is called L'eau d'ambre or Extreme. There's an extreme version. There's one that doesn't have extreme. And there's nothing extreme about this. This is from L'Artisan Parfumeur, and it's a kind of a really easy wear floral amber, but it has that typical like balsamic, and this is what they kind of all have, that like balsamic base with a little patchouli, a little like Tolu balsam or Peru balsam, something like that. Labdanum usually is, and benzoin, vanilla, musk, all these kind of notes. And they're all kind of in the dry down quite similar, and some go a little bit more vanillic, some are a little smokier, but my message to you is you don't need them all. At least don't buy full bottle of all of them. And then if you really need another good amber, look for secondhand or buy a decant first. But honestly, I'm not sure I could like distinguish between like Tolu and this one, and maybe Velvet Amber Sun is a little smokier actually. Maybe this one and Opus 1144 are really similar. I mean, I could do side-by-sides with all of these, but I just feel like, okay, I have enough now. I'm not getting any more like ambers. I did try like Tango from Masque Milano last summer. I went through a sample quite quickly. I really enjoyed it. It's by Cecile Sarokian. She's also made Material from Amouage, and I liked Material, but I also felt when I smelled it like, this smells like all the others. They're just not that unique to me. So that was one of the messages for today's video. And then I just like to share with you like what I've been wearing lately. I had a friend here a couple days ago, and we did some testing and we did some swapping. So here I have a really nice fragrance called Kisses Rain, and it's from the house of Renier. It's spelt R-E-N-I-E-R, and it's a house from the Czech Republic, which is not, I only have one other house from the Czech Republic represented among my perfumes. Yeah, this is really nice. This is a really like gourmand fragrance with like cardamom. I think there's coffee in here, but it doesn't go too sweet. Like it reminds me of Remember Me from, what is that house called? The one that makes psychedelic too. God, I cannot think of it. The name of this one. Do I have Remember Me here? No, I don't. But that one is a little bit too sweet. If you've tried Indigo Tanzanite, maybe from Armani Privé, it smells similar to that. But this one I think might have a little oud in it or something. This is a little like, it's just not quite as sweet. It's a little bit, I think, more beautiful perhaps. That one. Another one I've tried, I think I've talked about Chameleon from Zoologist. This one I've had a while. This was not from the other day. This one I've worn quite a few times now. I just think it's really, really nice. Really, really beautiful. Fruity, but not too sweet. It's not like childish fruity. It's kind of like a dry fruity and has a hint of coconut. And it's got these tropical fruits and just a really interesting kind of a little bit subdued fragrance. It's not loud at all. But it's in a good way. It's not like a skin scent either. It just gives enough projection for like myself to enjoy it. But I don't feel like I'm spreading fragrance all around the room. And I have another one here called Frangipani from Label. This is a new house to me. I think Cherry Garden, where I was last summer, has now taken this fragrance in. But you can also get them in other places. And they're not that pricey. It's a pretty good price. And they have one called, what else was it called? A really nice, anyway, gourmand fragrance. I didn't get I've smelled it, but I don't have a decant. But this Frangipani is really beautiful. I don't know if I could say it was Frangipani, but it has kind of that white floral, but really, really fresh. Kind of like, a little bit like beige from Chanel maybe, or like California Reverie from Van Cleef and Arpels, but this is like better. This is more niche. This is like, it's just nicer than that. Maybe it's jasmine in here too. I really, really like this. This is like a first impression for this one because I haven't really worn it. I can't say. One that I actually have worn a lot lately, or I've gone through like half this decant anyway. It's a 3 ml decant. It's called Sumo Wrestler, and it comes from Jayne, and it's kind of a powdery fragrance. I would have said iris, but there's no iris in here. It's violet. There's heliotrope. There's anise, or anise, maybe you call it. I think there might be like eucalyptus or something in here. I'm not quite sure of the notes, but it has kind of like a cold and warm at the same time kind of feeling. And it's just, this is something you could wear in a crowd and not feel uncomfortable. And as a matter of fact, I was in a crowd. I was among a lot of people indoors, and I wore this, and I just felt like, wow. And afterwards, I drove somebody home, and she thought that this was a really beautiful fragrance. She was not into fragrance, but she was like, oh my God, that really smells good. Sumo Wrestler. And my friend, she really likes this house, Jayne. She has another fragrance from there called Paper Soap. It's also really nice. I've smelled it at her house. She says these fragrances are kind of simple but complex, and she just really loves them. So if you can get your nose on those fragrances, please try them. Okay, this morning I tried a fragrance called, it's called Tendre Madeleine, and it's from the house Les Senteurs, I think it's pronounced. It's a gourmand, kind of a little bit of a cakey fragrance. I just want to refresh my memory here. This is not my kind of fragrance, really. But sometimes it's fun just to get like a little decant and just kind of get acquainted with these kind of gourmandish kind of... I mean, this is kind of like a sticky cake. Maybe a little bit of lemon in there, perhaps. I mean, I really like it. I really do. I just don't think I would buy a full bottle of something like this, but like every once in a while, if I want to wear something a little bit more sugary, or I can sometimes get a little craving for sweet fragrance like that. So that was kind of fun. Another zoologist fragrance that I swapped the other night was, this is Cow from Zoologist. And this is, I really like Zoologist. I like the way they've like found their own thing. It's like, kind of my brain wants to like categorize this, like, and put it into like, you know, like a category, kind of like the amber's one category and the irises are one category and the, like the orange blossoms and the gourmands might be one and so forth. But this one is like, it's just not possible to place it. It has like, it's kind of a milky fragrance, but it opens up with a really strong note of green apple. And it smells a little bit kind of like, I'll have to say a little cheap shampoo. Green apple shampoo at least was kind of popular here when I was younger. I'm trying to find a spot on my skin where I could spray this and just kind of remind myself what it smells like, because I wore it the other day. And I'm not sure about this fragrance, but I just find it really interesting to try it because it has, oh yeah, there's something nutty in here too. It's like, I don't know about the notes for sure, but it's like a little bit green, a little bit milky, a little bit, and the green apple is like really, really dominant in the opening. And that kind of stays a little bit, that feeling. I mean, I like it. I like it. I don't know if I go full bottle. This one is definitely a go through decant before you buy kind of fragrance. It's just so unusual. But it's just so refreshing to try something unusual, you know, that doesn't smell like, you know, all these ambers. Like every amber is the same, kind of. I mean, they're pretty close. One's smokier, one's more vanillic, but they're kind of, one's a little more floral, one's a little more fruity. But when it all kind of, after that dry down, they're all kind of the same. This one is not. So try Cow from Zoologist. It's really worth a try. And then I have one called here from the house of, I don't know how you would pronounce this in English. Widian. It's in Swedish. We don't have W we don't have it in our alphabet. So here we would say Widian, but it's Widian Black, the Black Collection, number 2. So like a Roman 2. This one, I thought I liked it. I liked it when we were trying it the other night, and then like now when I've worn it, I don't like it so much. There's something like boring about this fragrance. I think it's just like, oh, there's vanilla, there's musk, there's rose. But what is it that is like, it doesn't stand out? I'm even thinking maybe a little bit like, is it a kind of a designer vibe, or what is it that bores me with it? I'm not really sure. Let me spray this again just to kind of, I think there might be several fragrances from Widian that are called, or Widian, that are called 2. So this is Black Collection. No, I don't know. This is just, it's kind of like, smells like beginner niche, or it smells like designer. I'm not sure. There's something about it that bothers me, and I'm not sure what. Maybe I'll get back to you on that one. Another one that is very designery to my nose is called, let's see, I don't even know. Anima Vinci, I think, is the house. And the fragrance is called Tudo Ayal. I'm going to write this down like so you can see the exact. I really liked it when we were sniffing it. I was at my friend's house that time, and it's kind of has a little bit of a marine hint, but it's a little floral, a little fresh, but it does have also like a marine quality to it. And I just, I don't know. I think it's not good. There's something. It's not bad. It's not bad. I would just never buy a bottle. The bottle itself is incredibly beautiful. It looks kind of like a little bit like an egg. It's like really soft and kind of a beautiful shape, and that kind of. But this is actually, it's not bad. I mean, it has like a little bit of a powdery vanillic base, and then it has these little bit of fruity. It's a little bit of a vacation scent, I guess. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't know. Maybe I will actually wear it a time or two more before I get that passed on. I've been actually swapping these little 3s more recently rather than 5 mils, because many times I don't know, you know, I decide that I don't like them. So it just seems kind of like a waste with those. I mean, you do eventually pass them on, but okay. So, and then I have this fragrance. This is an indie house, and the fragrance is called Ensnare. And the house is called Pulp Fragrance. And this is a really weird fragrance. This is oil. This is not like an alcohol-based fragrance. And it smells like oud and maple syrup. And it's like really, really sweet. And I just loved it. And I was kind of saving these last 2 drops for my friend to try. I don't know, did I tell you this already? I can't remember, but I really enjoyed this. And oh, it has a booziness too. It's really boozy. But so boozy that my friend said this smells like someone with a whiskey hangover that has thrown up. She says it smells like vomit. So after that, I couldn't quite shake that off. Like I kept thinking about that. And when I smell it, when I put it to my nose and think about whiskey vomit, I can kind of get that. Like I know where she's coming from, but I thought it was, before I heard that, I really, really enjoyed this fragrance. And if I'd had a chance to try this more properly, I probably would. I think their website was down or something. I went in to look, read about it, and it was down right then. Okay, so then I've kept wearing this Rosendo Mater number 7. I still love this. This is like an oud and vanilla, spicy kind of oriental fragrance that I really, really love. And I don't find it to be a standard amber. Not at all. Maybe the oud is what makes it a little bit interesting. I'm not quite sure. But speaking of ambers with oud, I finally passed on this ember. I found a really good swap. So I'm actually getting in return, I'm sending him this ember from Ankakus. That was too masculine for me. I think I talked about that in a former video, and I sent him, I am going to go and pick up at the post office right after I hang up here with you guys, Terrific Oud Extreme from Terry Gunsberg, and I'm really excited about it because it's a fragrance that I've been wanting for quite a while, and I was also feeling kind of bad about getting this ember and then realizing that I don't really want to wear it. So that was a good swap. And then, okay, this is my last fragrance that I'll talk about today. It's called Ceylon, and it's from Xerjoff, and it's one of their ouds, and it opens up like really, really skanky. But then it goes really, really beautiful after that. And I wore this the other day and I was just like in heaven. I was just enjoying this fragrance like so much. And I thought maybe, this is maybe the one I should buy. And then I found out that this fragrance is like much more expensive than all the others in this collection. Like more expensive than Alcat and Mamluk and what they're called. But this Ceylon is like $400 or something. I think even more maybe for a 50 ml bottle. And it's not like crazy potent or like an X-ray or anything, but it's a really, really beautiful fragrance. If you can just get by that first minute or two when it's maybe a little too animalic. I'll have to say I love this. I think it's really, really beautiful. I'm not sure it's worth the money though, but I'm definitely going to go through this sample and really kind of pay attention. I think it's really important, like when you try fragrance, that you pay attention to what you're doing. So you don't just turn it on or put it on and then you just like rush around. You can do that too, but if you're trying to kind of like evaluate a new fragrance or you have very little left and you want to enjoy it, maybe it's better to like curl up on the couch and read a book and enjoy a fragrance at the same time, or do something a little bit more low key than like running errands, because you'll kind of forget about it. At least I think it's important to be, a little aware of what you're doing and just kind of notice what's in there and what happens, throughout the life length of the fragrance, not just the opening. Anyway, another insight, I'm kind of researching now, like the psychology of collecting, and there are a couple books written, and there's some videos, and there's the psychology of ownership. There is something like biological. There's a biological explanation to why, or like we're wired to want to own things from a very, very early age. And I find that really interesting. Oh, there's so much out there to consume, or, on this topic for me to read and to learn. So I'm kind of starting with that. I don't know if this is going to lead me to any kind of work, but it's something that I'm really interested in. I'm interested in, and I'm, the psychology of collecting, the culture of collecting, why we do it. And then I just realized I'm not a collector. I'm not in this fragrance journey to collect. Like this bottle here, just take this for example, is just here temporarily. I think in 2 years, I don't think I'll have it in my collection anymore. I do say my collection. I could also say my perfumes. I own it right now. Tomorrow, I will probably not own it anymore. You know, like it's a fragrance that they kind of pass by, and I keep them for a while until I no longer enjoy them, and then I let them go. That is kind of my plan, and I don't want to like build and build and build, because there's no way I'll use all these fragrances. The bottles are too big. The fragrances are too similar. I get bored with perfect fragrances. I've said that before. You know, some fragrances are just too perfect. That's why I can be a little hesitant for like Rosendo Mater #7. Maybe it's a little bit too perfect. Like I love it. I love everything about it. And the same thing with Opus 1144. It's like such a beautiful smoky fragrance. I really, really love this. But it really has a Parfumum Roma vibe. You got to try that. Unum. Filippo Sorcinelli is an incredible perfumer, by the way. I think I want to explore more of his stuff and a little bit more of the incensey things. But yeah, I'm not a perfume collector. I'm just I'm into the perfume, but I don't collect. I don't collect for the sake of collecting. And I don't have anybody to show off my collection for. And the things that I don't wear, and I feel like I'll never wear this, or I'll wear this really, really seldom, I'm going to let it go. So I have a few bottles that I need to let go. I'm going to let go of, I think, Precious Oud from Van Cleef & Arpels. I know that fragrance now. It doesn't talk to me. It doesn't intrigue me. I don't need it. I think there's maybe, let's see, is there anything else? I might actually let go Kaftan from YSL Exclusifs. It's nice, but I just can't see myself wearing that much. Maybe I'll keep 2 milliliter. I do that sometimes. I just passed on Exultat from Maria Candida Gentil. It's the same that's made Sideris. That she makes these small bottles, like they're 15 mils, and I bought 3 of them last summer, and I find them quite similar. The third one is called Burlesque. So I have Burlesque, Exultat, and the Sideris, and I don't need all 3. So I kept a decant, and I passed that bottle on. It just feels good. It feels like the right thing to do, not just to have too much, because it doesn't make any sense. I've gone beyond that point. I don't need anything more. What I really want, though, is like connecting with people to talk about fragrance and discuss fragrance and sniff together and kind of discover. I think that's what we kind of all want. I don't think that our collections at home make us happy. It's more like when we get to get together with other nerds, you know, and discuss. That's what's fun. And then it is, of course, fun to have some bottles, you know, to bring to the table. I can't just go and sniff everyone else's perfume. And yeah, but it just needs to be kind of reasonable. Well, okay, thank you for today, everyone.